got Sport Plus on, we got all the gizmos turned off, DSC off and all that kind of stuff. So basically with this, what I'm doing is I'm just taking my foot off the brake and mashing the throttle. It might have launch control, I don't know, I haven't asked, so I haven't found out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to head straight back down. Here we go, you ready? 3, 2, 1, throttle full, all the way, 60. That is remarkably fast car, that. Very fast indeed. So this week we are in a little bit of a controversial car actually, but not controversially to drive, controversially to look at. Everyone has been saying that the new 3 Series and 4 Series front grille is not very good looking. Now, I thought the same at the beginning, but I have to say it's really grown on me. And in this new 440i that I'm in today, I think it looks really good. I think it looks a little bit Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio, and that is an extremely good looking car. So this car we're in today, as I say, 440i, it's got 374 horsepower, 500 Newton meters of torque. It supposedly does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, but I know that people have been doing it in 3.8. Now, 3.8 is 0.3 faster than the outgoing M3 and M4, and that is bringing the game on in this sort of car. It's very obtainable, it's obtainable speed, and that's really exciting. And I tell you what, it is a proper wriggle on. The only thing I'm not a big fan of at the moment is the steering, but it's not that it's bad, it's just that it lacks a bit of feedback. So it makes the car feel a little bit big on the road, and it makes it feel like it's quite difficult to place, but I'm sure you'd get used to it. Everything else about this car, the engine, smooth as you like. The gearbox, 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, super smooth. I haven't caught it out once. You can put it all in the different modes like with any car at the moment. So you've got comfort at the moment, we can put it in sport, which immediately sharpens up the throttle response. Makes the car a little bit bumpier on the UK roads, but it's not unpleasant. And the gearbox gets a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, it's a proper wolf in sheep's clothing, this car. We've got Eco Pro mode. I normally stay well away from the Eco modes, but in this one I actually quite like it. It makes the throttle really long and deliberate. It doesn't change down loads of gears when you're on a motorway. Yeah, I quite like that one. As with a lot of these cars now, this has a sort of hybrid assistance working under the bonnet. I don't think it's doing an enormous amount. It's not, they don't call it a sort of a hybrid power, but there's a 48 volt battery that is sort of torque filling. It's helping with the gearbox, it's helping when you pull away, you know, with the 500 Newton meters of torque, which is plenty in a car like this. Yeah, I think it's just helping in the background, just so that you don't feel that it's turbocharged, I suppose. All the BMW infotainment, iDrive system is all very BMW. It's quite easy to use. If you've ever used one of the previous generation BMWs, then you'll know how to use this one. The cockpit, if you will, is all very fighter jet. It's all gone with the Audi style sort of fighter jet look on the digital display. It's all very nice. It tells you exactly what you want to know, and the speedo's there, the rev gauge is there, everything is rather lovely, to be honest. It all feels very expensive and very nice. I'm imagining that the people that buy this car are going to be using it for everyday use, going up and down the motorway, you know, MDs of companies, that sort of thing, or high management points in companies. So they're going to be used, and I dare to say abused, but I think it really feels like it could do that. It really feels like an everyday companion that you would, you'd feel happy going up to the lovely roads in Wales or come out to the nice roads in the Cotswolds that we're in now, and people would really enjoy them on a weekend, but also on the weekday. This car is, it's your best mate. As standard, this car is 53,800, so just shy of 54 grand. This one, as tested, I'm sure BMW press department have ticked every single option, so I'm sure it's a lot more than that. But it feels expensive in here. It's a really lovely place to be. These M Sport seats are super comfortable and they hold you beautifully. Really, really like those. They, I imagine, on a long journey are absolutely fabulous. The steering wheel is typical BMW. It's nice and thick, lovely to hold on to. The paddles, I actually quite like these paddles. They are plastic, but they have a nice little notch in the back of them that make them feel quite nice and deliberate. I like those a lot. As I say, the 8-speed ZF gearbox, lovely. It's smooth when you want it to be, and it's quick and responsive when you're in sport mode. The throttle response in all the different modes changes. The brake pedal, let's have a look. No, let's have a try, shall we? Yeah, the brakes work fantastically, and they've got silly blue paint on the calipers, which I think looks cool. The car, the engine, the 3-litre turbocharged engine is rather lovely actually, and it suits the characteristics of this car beautifully. I think it's smooth, but it still sort of has a little bit of that rawness that a BMW should have. But yeah, it's very smooth and a lovely engine, and I imagine on a long trip it would return you good numbers, but I imagine when you hustle it, it could really drink some fuel. So the 4-wheel drive system on this car, the xDrive on BMWs, is rear bias, and it feels fantastic actually. It feels rear driven until you go into a corner quite hot. You can then feel the front end working, the front axle working. This car is basically based exactly the same on a 3 Series, but just stiffened up and made more dynamically sporty. And I think they really nailed it. I think if anyone went out and bought this, firstly, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and secondly, you know, you don't look like too much of a prat. You hear that? It's a lovely sonorous noise. It's really nice actually. It feels and sounds expensive. Now we get on to the bone of contention point of this car, the looks. I really like the looks of this car. As I said before, I think it looks like an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio at the front with those aggressive lights that are sort of scowly at the front. Everyone really likes that. It's got a lot of presence. I quite like the grills on this one now that I've seen it in the flesh. And if you haven't seen it in the flesh, you've just seen the pictures all over Instagram, do go and have a look at one in a dealership, because in actual fact, I think it suits the front end of this car, the way it sweeps down, and the coupe body at the back. Yeah, the exhausts are hidden into the bumpers. I think that looks great, because if you're someone that wants to buy one of these, you're not someone that necessarily wants to shout about it. So you're someone that really enjoys the M performance of a good engine, but I think you're someone that wants to turn up somewhere and someone not to know that you've spent 60 grand nearly on a car. Maybe, I don't know, I might be wrong. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this car. Everything, the interior, beautiful. Exterior, I quite like the look of it, but it's all subjective. About going and buying sort of a range topper A4 C-Class, this is, yeah, I think BMW really moved the game on with this. It's all quite typically BMW, but feels a little bit more expensive, and I think they've really raised their game. Yeah, really impressed with this. As I say, only thing I don't really like is the steering, but I haven't had this car for much longer than a morning, so I think you'd get used to it over time. But yeah, lovely. So BMW have very kindly let me come and do some 0 to 60 runs. So let's see how quick this car really is, and back to 0 probably as well. But let's see how fast this car really is. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. God, she picks up e-boost. God, there it is. That's, yeah, she's a fast car. All right, we'll go back up and do that again. Here we go. Right, so one more. We're going to see how fast it goes this time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! God, it's a fast car, I tell you. Very fast car. Yeah, very good. Like that. All done.